All right.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Kicking It with Cal. I'm your host, Cal Denicky, and we have a special guest with us today. Harrison Staudt is in the building. Harrison, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Cal. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done a podcast, so I wanted to kind of talk about how we met and your life and coming down to Florida and everything that's been going on. But would like to tell the audience that we met a few weeks ago playing golf in what was called the Florida Open. So if you haven't checked out my last video on my YouTube page, you can check that out. There were 8 of us, had a great time playing golf. So tell me a little bit about your experience playing in that Florida Open with me.
Oh man, it was great. Haven't been able to get out with that kind of group of guys yet since living here in Florida. So it was great. It was an overall great experience. Um, didn't golf the best, but everybody has their off days, so I'm excited to get out there again for the next one.
Yeah, and we actually golfed today, and we were talking about it after breakfast today, just how getting a good group of guys together and experiencing that friendship and doing things, because a lot of us here who are friends have moved from out of state and around the country and have kind of met and bonded over sports and some other things. So it's been fun. So I kind of want to jump into things and tell the audience a little bit about you. So how did you make your way down to Florida?
Oh boy, so initially, I'm originally from the Midwest, just west of Milwaukee, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I met my lady when she was living in Chicago. Did that whole quote unquote long distance, although it wasn't too long, just a 2 hour drive away. After a short time there, we moved out to Colorado. That led to the birth of our son. And her folks live down in the St. Pete area, so we figured it'd be better to be closer to family than further away with the kid. With the kid, and that's kind of what brought us to Florida. We love it here so far.
And what are some differences between the places that you've lived, mentioning Wisconsin, Chicago, Colorado, and then coming to Florida, just geographically around the country? What are some things you might like or dislike about the different places you've been?
I'm a cold weather fan. I love me a fall. Don't get a whole lot of that here in Florida, of course. We get a couple months of chillier weather, but it's not quite the chilly that I prefer.
Mhm.
But yeah, coming from Wisconsin is pretty flat. Then we went to Colorado, which was quite the opposite of that, and now we're in Florida with the beach. So I loved every place that we lived. I especially loved Colorado. The falls in Colorado were just beautiful. I miss it so much. A little bit expensive to live there, but Florida seems to be following real close behind.
Yeah, I know a lot of the people from my hometown in Illinois make their way out to Colorado. It's a beautiful state,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of cool things going on. We got to experience some fall weather this morning,
Right.
A little bit. Got to throw on a little long sleeve shirt and play some golf. But I kind of want to go back to your roots in Wisconsin. And when did you end up leaving Wisconsin? Tell me a little bit about what that decision was like and where life brought you, and kind of backtrack just a bit.
Okay. I believe we moved out. It was right after COVID hit. So we moved out, I think it was July of 2020, if I'm remembering correctly. It was basically just on the whim situation. I had a buddy that lived down there, and he's like, "Hey, I got an extra bedroom. If you and Logan want to come down." And funny, he went to school at Indiana University, and so did my lady. And his fraternity was across the street from her sorority. And I went to high school with him, so it was kind of a weird connection, and kind of just felt like he was meant to be. So we made that decision to go out there and live with him, and he lived in a beautiful condo apartment on the top of the building, and it was just beautiful to see the whole state or the whole city. And it was great. We moved out there basically just I wanted to see, I wanted to explore, I wanted to broaden my horizons, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of wanted to see more of the world, get out of my little hometown, and see what kind of person I become.
Yeah, I heard on a podcast one time they said leaving your hometown, going to experience something new is the best thing anybody can do. You can always go home, you can always have that experience if you want to, but to get out and kind of just open your eyes up is everybody. And it happened with me moving down to Florida. Our friends down here, we like new people down here.
Absolutely, us transplants have to stick together, man.
Yeah. So your father,
Yeah, I'm a father.
with another one on the way.
Yeah, number two on the way.
So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit, because we're basically the same age, and I'm not a father, but I would like to know a little bit about what has fatherhood done to you, and what's it like raising a child.
I mean, to sum it up real quick, I love it. I love being a father. It's by far my favorite thing that I have done and will continue to do. It's been great watching him grow, but it's also super cool to watch yourself grow as a father too. You really come into yourself. You really have to start reflecting on your own personal triggers and traumas that you've developed throughout your life, and you just slowly overcome those. Becoming a father again has been like my favorite thing of this life that I call my own, and um, especially with just all the traveling we've done, all the relocating we've done. Not only has it tested ourselves, but it's tested the relationship between my significant other and I. It's made us really strong, really close, and I just cannot wait to be a father to another one. And we found out it's a girl.
Congratulations.
I wanted our first one before he was born, of course. At least in the beginning parts of the first pregnancy, I wanted him to be a girl. Just wanted
girl dad.
Yeah, I wanted to be a girl dad, man. Just really wanted nothing but that. And Rune came along, and ended up being a boy, and now I almost feel the opposite, but I'm stoked either way. I'm blessed to have to have not just one child, but another one on the way. I'm so incredibly blessed.
Yeah, I kind of live vicariously through my friends back home who have kids, and seeing the photos of them coaching their t-ball teams and doing their birthday parties and that kind of stuff. I think it's super rewarding.
Mhm.
It's cool. I might get there one day. That would be awesome. I've always wanted to have kids, so we'll see if that happens. But I shout out to all the dads out there who are doing their thing and putting in that work. So
Thanks, man.
appreciate you.
All the milestones that you watch them go through, even the little ones like turning over, for the first time, it breaks your heart in the best way possible. It's just you want to pat yourself on the back, but it's all them. It's great. I can't wait for you to experience what I've experienced so far. It's fantastic.
So you were into kind of changing gears here into skateboarding and snowboarding growing up. Can you talk to me and the audience a little bit about what the culture is like behind those sports, and kind of what got you into it, and where has that gone since childhood?
Surprisingly, I feel like skateboarding, and you can sprinkle a little bit of snowboarding in on there too, or like the extreme sport category. It kind of gets a bad rap, like, oh, you're hanging out at the skate park, what are you doing drugs? But it just truly, I mean, you might see that, but realistically, it's the best way that I can describe it. If I could in one word, it'd be inclusive. Everybody is so welcoming, no matter what your skill level is. It's just great. You watch people grow around you, you grow yourself, and yeah, it's an awesome place to be. I love it. I will push my son and not my daughter, soon to be daughter, into that field if they choose to do so. I will be nothing but supportive. I've met such great friends, skateboarding and snowboarding, and a little bit of motocross too. I made such great friends, lifelong friends, and I think it's just been a great sport or industry to be a part of.
Yeah, and I've seen a little bit of the skateboarding on the Olympics now that it's an Olympic sport, and just how cool that is. It's been one of my favorite Summer Olympic sports to watch. There's 13-year-old girls out there just shredding it, and I mean, I think it's opened up the world's eyes to a little bit of a maybe taboo sport that parents might not want their kids getting into.
Right.
Yeah, for the reasons you mentioned. So, with skateboarding and snowboarding, we know that photography and cinematography kind of goes hand in hand with that, and you're very passionate about photography. So I would like you to kind of tell me what caught your eye, and was there a moment that made you want to become a photographer and a videographer? And I want to hit this kind of hard because it's something that you're really into and something that we've bonded over through sharing stories about this podcast and YouTube and all the different ways that you can express yourself through this topic.
Absolutely, and honestly, I have to relate it back to like the snowboarding and skateboarding period of my life, community, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so I started with videography. It's kind of tough to call it that because when you're like 14, 15, 16 years old, you just got a camera in your hand, man, just capturing the moment, throw it on Facebook, maybe get a couple likes from the aunt and uncle. That's basically where it started. Just filming ourselves, and just over time, I just got better at it, and along with getting better at it, I started to fall in love with it, more so the video side. And as I got a little older, I was able to purchase my first like, real photography camera, professional camera, I should call it. Um, and just from there, that's really what made me fall in love with just holding a camera all the time. I love capturing moments. I love using like creating something out of nothing. I'm walking and all you see is sights, and you might forget that in a week or a month or whatever, but you're able, if you have a camera, if I have a camera in my hands, I can stand there and click a button and capture the moment forever. And you can print it out, hang it out. So I hang it up on your wall, and I just love the creativity aspect of it. And what really made me fall in love is just being able to take a moment, kind of like I just said, take a moment and then express myself, post that on social media, my website, whatever it may be.
How often do you go back and look at old photos and videos that you've taken in terms of like, do you spend time doing that? Is it kind of something in the past that you don't look at, or where's your stance on that?
I go back a lot. I go back a lot. I have some old SD cards from my old cameras that I've had that I just hold on to safekeeping or for safekeeping. And yeah, I love going back and referring to those old memories because I see that one picture that anybody else could see and be like, oh, when, where, how did you take that photo? But it takes me back to that certain moment in my life, and it gives me that same feeling that I felt when I was taking that picture.
Yeah. Tell me about your photo challenge. So I looked at your Instagram, and you did a photo challenge. So tell the audience a little bit about how that came about, what you were trying to establish with it, and throw out your handle if you want to see if people want to take a look at what's going on over there.
All right. Well, my handle is HB Peak, short for HB Peak Productions. Yeah. So when I moved here to Florida, I actually was a co-owner of HB Peak Productions, and me and my friend that I started that with, we, in the most genuine and respectful way, we split. He moved to the Northwest, the Pacific Northwest, and I moved down to Florida, so we couldn't be any further away. So he took the clothing company that we created, and I took the production company that we created, and kind of shook hands, called it a day. Still love the guy, still a great dude. But yeah, so the photo challenge. After moving to Florida, I kind of got a little after moving here. A lot happened because we had our son and we had to get used to that. And after a little bit under a year, kind of like, hey, like I really want to get this thing going. I know social media is a huge, of course, like a huge avenue to gain engagement, customers, whatever it may be. So I decided let's hit Instagram really hard, and I saw this trend where it was day X of posting photos every single day until I hit X followers. And I decided like, hey, why not? Like it's gonna not only help me like obtain an audience, but it's also gonna help me increase my skill in photography because I feel like I was always a little bit better of a videographer than a photographer, just because that's where I came from mostly on the video side. So I thought like, why not? Let's try the photo side and see how good I can get, see how many people like my stuff, and I guess we'll go from there. So I posted every single day of a photo that I took, either that day or a couple days prior, and with a little audio clip, and I got
a little trendy song.
Yeah, we'll throw a little trendy song in there to gain some more engagement, and it took me a little bit over 140 days to get to 1,000. I got to about 1,100. It got a little overbearing because there were some days where I posted, maybe twice instead of just the one time. So I think I posted about 175 times in about 150 days. That could have been an extra video, whatever it may be, along with the initial photo challenge, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved watching myself grow. It did kind of tire me out. Not so much the work, but how much attention it made me pay to social media. I think that got to me a little bit. So I've been taking a couple months off. I still post on my account, every couple of weeks, and sometimes multiple times a week. Sometimes it's none. But yeah, I think it really brought me into who I am as a creator.
Yeah. I was told a theory one time when you're trying to promote yourself on social media of just how exhausting it can be to promote yourself and to try to get your brand out there and to basically fill people's feeds with what you're trying to do. Can you kind of talk to us about what was that like for you? I know you used the word exhausted from it, but in this digital age that we live in, kind of what is that like for people who are really trying to build something but also know like it's exhausting to just kind of continue to put yourself out there and do it in a way that maybe doesn't feel authentic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess authentic is or inauthentic is a great word to put it, at least from my perspective. Others may feel different, but from my personal perspective, it felt a little braggy,
Mhm.
or at least it started
Ooh,
to.
braggadocious.
It did truly. It felt a little braggy. I had my eyes were always on. Like, how many likes did I get today? How many am I going to get tomorrow? How many have I got from that one post? I mean, I think
Mhm.
it's not like my seventh day in. Again, I did it for 150 days, but on my seventh day in was my best, and this almost hurt a little bit. My seventh day in was my best performing post. It got like 15,000 views. It was just a photo of Johns Pass Pier, or the bridge by Johns Pass, and it did great. A bunch of comments, a bunch of likes, like 15,000 views.
Had
We
you
got
feeling good?
Yeah, had me feeling good. There was some hate. Like, don't get me
Mhm.
wrong. There was some negative comments. Everybody has their opinion, which is fine. That comes with posting on such a wide platform, and I'm cool with that because I mean, I'm not gonna just completely hate on the person that's commenting. I mean, they have something to say, and if they didn't like it, I mean, you're not gonna impress everybody,
Mhm.
but you can always take constructive criticism and grow.
Yeah. Okay. Um, and we were talking earlier about the golf video that we all shot together, and it took me probably 12 to 14 hours to edit a 20-minute video. And I think people who are outside of the world of photography and videography don't quite understand what the editing process looks like. So, what is the editing process like for you in terms of one Instagram post would take you how long to edit those photos or put those videos together? Because I think for most people, it probably seems a lot simpler than it is.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of sometimes get a bad rap, especially with photography stuff. You'll get clients like outside of social media. You'll get clients. It's like, oh, you can edit that out in post, and there's like a bird flying right in front of everybody. It's like, but I mean, nowadays with AI stuff, you can like it does make it easy. Um, but in terms of my editing process, I mean, it really depends how long the video is. If it's just like a 20, 30, 40-second video, that could take me anywhere in between for a video, it could take me anywhere in between, sheesh, 20 minutes to like 3 hours. It just really depends what I'm making. But like that photo challenge, in the beginning, it took me a couple hours because you have to record yourself, and that was a whole other mountain for me to get over. You had to record yourself, and then you have to edit up the photo, and then you have to add the photo into the video. At first, it would take me like an hour to 2 hours per post, but as I got through it, through the days, I got pretty good at it, pretty efficient. So sometimes it's like, oh man, I got to edit this video real quick. It's already on my phone, or maybe 10 minutes. I got to. But with the longer form videos, even if it's like a 2-minute video, um, yeah, that can take you up to a couple hours. So I mean, like 12 hours for a 20-minute video. That's a long video. You do good work on that golf video.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it. Trying to improve, trying to find things that I'm passionate about and hobbies and things that are meaningful instead of just watching TV or doing something that's not going to benefit me in the future. And making a creative project is something I've always been really into, and you can always look back on it. And I think people appreciate it when you actually put in the time to do something of that magnitude.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, again, like I was saying about the photos that I refer back to years later, it's cool because you can always like have that in your pocket. It's like, oh, remember this time in 2024 we made the golf video? Yeah. That's one of my favorite parts of being a photographer, videographer.
Yeah. So I always like to end on one thing on your mind, is what I call it. So, is there anything, Harrison, that you're into right now, whether it's a movie, a book, a TV series, a hobby, something that you're really about in life right now that you'd like to share with the audience?
I'm not trying to plug myself by any means. I'm not. But yeah, I started a company. It's called Hooper Media. We do like digital advertisements and web design for small businesses. At least that's where we're starting. And at first, when I graduated college with 2 degrees in certification. One degree is marketing, second one's digital marketing, and the third one is a certification. It's like sales strategy. Um, right out of college, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but I wanted to get to the creative side of marketing, social media management, content creation, which is kind of why I started to pursue content creation and photography, videography. little bit heavier after or like post college.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but as I've grown as a professional marketer, I've noticed that I'm a little bit better at the analytics side of marketing, despite what I thought I initially liked.
Mhm.
So after being in the marketing space for 5, 6 years now, I've noticed that I have been growing the fastest and have been most efficient with the analytics side, ads, web design, UI, UX, user interface, user experience. And I figured instead of doing that for an organization that has, where I'm just a number, I'll do it for myself. And I'm not only going to be able to help myself in that situation, but small businesses around me. That's kind of how I hold myself. If I can help you, I'm helping myself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my big thing right now.
What how will these small businesses find you for you to help them with their marketing?
I guess the way that we promote our clients, we should be listening to our own advice and promoting ourselves that way as well. As of right now, we're going door to door. We're just knocking.
Cold calls.
Cold calls. It's brutal. You get pushed out of the door a lot. There's a lot of rejection, but that I feel like that just makes you a stronger person. And I've been able to learn how to deal with that rejection. In the beginning, it was tough. You walk out of a door, it's like, no, get the heck out of my store. And that has happened a couple of times, and I mean, it is demeaning. It kind of beats you down, but you just really got to just shake it off and get back out there.
Yeah. I've got a friend named Micah Better. Shout out to Micah. She does similar stuff to you, and I wanna connect you too. She's in Illinois, but I feel like just the connections you can make through people who are passionate about the same things, I think would be great because she does a really good job. So, um, thank you for that. I mean, my one thing on my mind right now, a couple hurricanes came through Florida, so I'm trying to get my house all squared away. We're in a spare bedroom right now, so a little bit of a different backdrop, but getting the house squared away and coaching my girls volleyball team at the middle school right now. We've got about a week left, so getting ready to wrap up that season. So
Great.
thanks for coming on. I appreciate
Of course.
it.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time.